Well, it finally happened. After 7 years of doing YouTube, I made that classic YouTuber mistake of talking to a camera for 40 minutes or so, and then realizing afterwards you forgot to press record. Yes, this time I'm never gonna get back. But yeah, thank you for joining me for take 2 of my review of Mother's Instinct. Yep, just checking it's still recording. Getting paranoid. But yeah, it wouldn't be a Luke Hayfield review without an A-up introduction, would it? So, hey up everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I just want to give a preemptive apology in advance because I'm pretty sure I had to butcher some names with this introduction, so bear with me. Today's movie I'm going to be reviewing on the channel is the directorial debut of Benoît Delhomme called Mother's Instinct, which is a remake of the 2018 French film by Olivier de Passy-Massé, which itself was an adaptation of the Belgian novel by Barbara Abel. Still with me? Great. Despite me having a copy, I haven't actually read the book. This was just a freebie bit of swag at the film screening. And no, I haven't seen the 2018 French film either. I went into this film knowing diddly squat about the story, which I do think is the best way to approach this film. If you're interested in watching it, go into it knowing as little as possible. And for the purposes of this review, I am going to keep things vague for you guys. But yeah, if you've clicked on this video hoping to find out how it compares to the 2018 French film, or if it's a faithful adaptation of the book, I'm the wrong person to ask because I can't give you an answer on that. When I sat down to watch this film, I had nothing to compare it to. I just watched it as a casual moviegoer. But what did I think of Mother's Instinct? I thought it was a bit of a mixed bag. I'm not going to go into extensive detail about the plot because this is a psychological thriller, and like I said, the less you know about it before you watch it, the better, and this is a spoiler-free review. But essentially, the film is set in America during the blissful 1960s in the suburbs. Alice and Celine, played by Jessica Chastain and Anne Hathaway, are close friends who live next door to each other. They both have husbands, they both have a young boy, roughly around the same age, and both the boys are close friends themselves. It's that time in American history where it was kind of expected that the men would go off to work and the women would stay at home, raise the kids, and look after the house. Both of their families seem to embody the idea of the stereotypical American dream, you know, the whole nuclear family with the house in the suburbs, the white picket fence, Cadillac car, cocktail parties on the porch, the wife waiting at home with a nice refreshing cold beverage for the husband after he gets home from a long day at work. It's very Mad Men or Don't Worry Darling, other films and TV shows which look at the American dream, but this dream is shattered after a tragic accident, and both Alice and Celine begin to unravel, and that's all the plot you need to know. So, what's good about Mother's Instinct? Well, for starters, the performances are enjoyable, but I wasn't expecting anything less with the pairing of 2 Academy Award-winning actresses, Jessica Chastain and Anne Hathaway. I will say though, I would have liked a little bit more from Anders Danielson Lee. I thought his talents were a little bit wasted in this film. He plays Jessica Chastain's husband. The production values in this film were splendid, particularly the gorgeous costume work from Mitchell Travers. All the characters in this are dressed to the nines. Also, the sets and the props are all period perfect. Also, the look of this film is very visually pleasing, which comes as no surprise because director Benoît Delhomme got his start as a cinematographer. He's done films like At Eternity's Gate. But yeah, Mother's Instinct is a very bright and vibrant film. It's got that whole the grass is greener vibe to it. It's got that picturesque sheen of the idyllic 1960s. So yeah, that's what I liked about the film. When it comes to my negatives, the main issue I had with this film was the script by Sarah Conrad. Again, I've not read the book, so I can't tell you if this is a faithful adaptation or if Conrad successfully captures the tone of the novel, but the issue that I had with the writing is that it never felt sure of itself. It never really found its rhythms or its groove or its sweet spot. I could tell it wanted to be a taut thriller that keeps the audience guessing throughout, but the formula wasn't quite right. When you're writing a thriller, there are lots of different routes you can take to create a particular type of atmosphere. Like maybe it's dark and mysterious, maybe it's campy and fun. But with Mother's Instinct, it never really settled on a particular type of tone. When it comes to the flavors of this film, it's not mysterious, tense, campy, sinister, or thrilling for that matter, okay? There are notes of those flavors throughout, but the end product is kind of this diluted, soupy melodrama. There's also some clunky dialogue in this film, a lot of heavy-handed foreshadowing early on, as well as a lot of characters announcing how they feel in certain scenes. It's very tell, don't show, and it just had me rolling my eyes in numerous places. Also, this is Benoît Delhomme's directorial debut, and his direction didn't really do much to make the dramatic moments in this film pop. There's a real lack of ambiguity in this film because the audience is meant to be questioning whether we believe Alice or Celine. Like, it's revealed that one of the characters has a history of mental illness, and that's information that's purposely placed there so the audience can question that character. But the way that Delhomme shoots it, there was no ambiguity for me. Like, I believed this character. Like, there was no bit of doubt in my mind that what she's saying isn't true. But in the hands of a more seasoned director, they could have implemented more directorial choices to make the audience question whether they believe her or not. So yeah, I would say that Delhomme's direction lacks a bit of finesse. And granted, the ending of this film certainly packs a punch, but sadly, it didn't hit me as hard as it could have. How I felt about this film's ending is as if I went to a restaurant and I had a mediocre starter, a mediocre main course, and a surprisingly delicious ending. But the fact that I, ended on a pleasant note doesn't erase the fact that the first two courses were average at best. The experience of going to this particular restaurant was subpar. Honestly though, I do believe in the hands of a more experienced director, the build-up to the finale could have been so much more satisfying. Instead, I left feeling like the ending wasn't fully earned. Do I think it has any Oscars chances? That's a negative, I'm afraid. As much as I think the costume work would be worthy of an Oscar nomination, I just think this is going to be one of those films that goes as quick as it comes. It doesn't really have a lot of staying power, this film. Some of you might be asking, what about the performances? Could Chasten or Hathaway get a nomination? Again, that's a no, and this isn't because the performances aren't good. They are perfectly fine, very serviceable, but I think in the grand scheme of both Chasten and Hathaway's careers, I don't think anybody will have either of their performances from Mother's Instinct in their top 5 of all time, okay? They've both given so much better performances in better films. So yeah, while the performances are fine, they're not Oscar-nominated performances. All right then, let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? No, sorry. Like I said, it was fine once, but it just doesn't have the high-stakes tension or the camp value of something like Sleeping with the Enemy, Fatal Attraction, or The Hand That Rocks the Cradle to make me want to come back for seconds. So no, this was just a one-time watch for me. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? I don't actually know who I'd recommend this movie to. As far as psychological thrillers go, it is a little limp, but if you do think the premise sounds interesting or you're a fan of the talent involved, then yeah, go check it out, form your own opinion. My advice would be just to lower your expectations. And third question, what score would I give it out of 10? Mother's Instinct just about gets a passing grade for having an ending which will have you talking, but only for about 5 minutes after you've watched it. Honestly, by the time that I got home, I'd kind of forgotten about this film. It's such a shame that this movie was just kind of meh, given the talent that was involved, and I do actually think that the story was rather interesting. It's just the execution of it was just kind of bland. But not even good performances and terrific production values can save this film from mediocrity, okay? It's more fizzle and sizzle. This is gonna sound a little bit shady, but this is just my honest opinion, but Mother's Instinct kind of gives me the vibe of a made-for-TV movie, only with a bigger budget. I really do think this film could have been so much more than what we got. So I'm gonna give Mother's Instinct a score of 4.5 out of 10. But as always, guys, it is just one bloke's opinion. I would love to hear from you. Have you seen Mother's Instinct? Have you seen the 2018 French film? Have you read the book? Whatever you have to say about this film, do let me know in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed the video, help me out with a little thumbs up button. If you want more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click subscribe. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time.